Alright, welcome back to Lenz Comic Corner, Classic Lesson Non-Classic. This episode number 3173, Doubleshot 3067. I've got two trades here that are pretty much collecting the second to last. These are the second to last trades for these writers' runs. This other one I just got basically the final trade today. The other one, the next one has not been released yet. First up we have is Nightwing by Tom Taylor, Volume 6. Standing at the Edge. This collects Nightwing Volume 4, issues 106 to 109 and 111 to 113. Those of you curious, what the heck is 110? Well, that was a Beast World tie-in, so let's collect it in the Beast World Tour trade paperback. Perhaps you can find that, plus I think was also a backup feature in 109, which is not in here. This is basically leading to the very end of this run. Plus, we do see a return of a character who's not been seen since before the start of Tom Taylor's run. We have Tom Taylor, Mark Wolfman, who does the 300 issue story, because we still have 300 issues with these issues. 300 issues with these issues here. Art by Steve Byrne, Sammy Bersari, Danielle Di Nicchio, and Bruno Bernardo, who's been a regular artist in this book for pretty much since the start of this run. And by the way, Heartless is in here, but there's nothing really done with him per se. First story is called Crew of the Crossed, where this person is asking where's Dick Grayson, and then we see a flashback to, believe it or not, this first part here is a flashback to the Rick Grayson stuff. Yes. The Rick Grayson storyline, which is, for this book, the most hated storyline of this entire series. People hate this run, this era for Nightwing, because it's like, oh, we can't go by Dick anymore, because, now, I never spoke to Dan Dio about this at all, about what is up with his hatred of Dick Grayson. I never asked him about that. I probably should have. But this is a period of time where this particular year this happens. Like, oh, let's make sure we have any dicks in the DC universe. Let's go by Rick Grayson. We have this woman named B here in this flashback. Yes. And we flashback to this time. I'm sure probably that either Tom Taylor wanted to do this. So we have this guy called Quartermaster. He does pop up in present day where he gets killed off here. For some reason, the Quartermaster, the way he's drawn here, he looks like Donald Pleasance. The older version of Donald Pleasance, where he passed away. He passed away just recently. So, then we got the present day where Nightwing is in Titan's Tower with Barbara Gordon, where basically like they're dating now. So Nightwing, of course, we have Heartless killing the Quartermaster. Yeah, he doesn't do much anything at all in this story. He's going to play a role in here. And then we have basically the police commissioner. I don't think this is the same person from the start of the run. I think this is a different one. Basically, Nightwing is working with her. It's like this woman is supposed to be Nightwing's this series version of Jim Gordon. So it's like, yeah, it's like then we rides on his motorcycle, which has basically for some reason this symbol was actually on one of his costumes. I think it was the pre-Flashback costume. I think it was. They had this on there. So yeah, then he beats people inside of an ambulance, who apparently has the Quartermaster, and apparently the thing was taken. And apparently, his name Captain Blood turns out to be B. First time seeing her present day since before Tom Taylor wrote this book. Yes. Now, of course, they wrote her out of the book because basically she wasn't needed anymore. Because, well, one thing, I remember when James Tynion was announced to be the writer of Batman, he said the first thing he was going to do was put Dick Grayson back being Nightwing. Which he did do that. It took a little bit of time, but that did happen. That happened with the Joker War stuff, which that was probably, anybody can agree with me on this. That was probably by far one of the best decisions he ever did with in the Batman role, was putting Dick Grayson And then a flashback to when he was dating B. Oh, and I love this variant cover with him, basically all of his costumes. Yes, we have the current costume currently. We have the Batman costume from 2009. Excuse me. They go like 40. For some reason, we can't show the... of course, you have 84, 95, 92, 2018, which looks like virtually the same costume in 2023 and 2011. Yeah, because look at 2018 and 2011, it's virtually almost the same costume. Now, the thing is, a lot of people don't like the fact that whenever the post-Flashpoint continuity shows Dick Grayson as Robin, for some weird reason, the artists love drawing him wearing pants, despite the fact that any longtime reader who know Dick Grayson who know him as first as Robin, then Nightwing. By the way, do you know what's missing from this variant cover? You want to know what it is? Okay, the thing missing from this cover is actually the Batman costume from the mid-90s. Yes, because according to this variant cover, apparently the Dan Mori didn't note the fact that he was Batman in the 90s for one storyline. Yep, and then we have where he sees B again, and of course you mentioned, the fact that he lied to her, the fact that he didn't love her anymore, which I'm sure he probably still kind of thinks fights her crew. And then later on you see him get out of the Nightwing outfit, and then he asks like, Dick, I'm glad you brought, what do you wear? It's like he's Doc Savage with his outfit with the open up shirt. It's like, yeah, I couldn't find him in the cover. And then eventually he gets, of course they have Sailor Overboard, and then he eventually has to switch out the mask he was wearing, the Nightwing mask, because apparently he can't be like where the island is, so he switched out for a down mask. He got tossed in the ocean. Don't worry, he gets another one. Yep. And then by the way, the whole cross thing, it's only 4 issues. Yep. So basically they go to this pirate island, which nobody knew this thing existed, except this book. So, then eventually, like, we have a mutiny, and, like, Nightwing has to, and of course, B gets stabbed, but don't worry, she's perfectly fine. He gets wrapped up here with issue 109, yes. And look, here's a flashback of Dick Grayson as Robin, and the artist got his costume finally correct. Yes. It only took DC Comics 10 frickin' years to get this right. Yes, because you ever notice so any time in the past decade that has shown Dick Grayson in the Robin costume, it's always with pants. Here, it's with the shorts. And I'm like, what the heck is wrong with this costume? Answer, absolutely frickin' nothing. It's because some people at DC want to erase Tim Drake so badly, all because Chuck Dixon developed this character over the course of almost 10 years. And my personal theory of the reason why some of these comics want to ruin Tim Drake, because they are offended that Chuck Dixon left him for cross-gen. I think that's probably what happened. And probably because some editors, DC Comics, not all of them, some didn't like Chuck Dixon. So yeah, B survives, and eventually they wrap up this storyline, nice little bow. Because by the end of this, Dick Grayson does finally... Though, here's something weird though. Like, see this panel here? With B? It's like, they reused this panel... It's like, look at this. Come on, seriously? We should do that. Okay, so here's from the end of issue 107. Look at this panel. And here, look at this. Same freaking pose, just 3 issues later. I do not know why that the artist thought this is a good idea. So he fights basically the traitor and deals with whatever in there. And then he puts on a different mask, but he just put on the Robin costume, his costume. And then we have a flashback. You have a story involving Batman finding about Heartless, and of course Batman wearing his costume from the... Now, here's the weird thing about when Batman got the black underwear again, which, by the way, Batman didn't wear this underwear since 2009. Yeah, that was last time he ever, actually more like 2010. And then for a period about almost 10 years, he never put on this black underwear again. Because wasn't really needed. For Superman, people love that. It's an iconic part of the outfit. Black underwear Batman didn't really need it. And then for some weird reason, when Tomase took over Detective Comics, he hadn't put him on the underwear again. Of course, in Superman half with Action 1000, rather than prior to that for some reason. I don't know why. So, there's a flashback here, and you have Batman fighting everybody. And of course, you have this wonderful issue of like, it deals with the Heartless stuff, but he doesn't really play a big role in here. Nice little story, and then eventually, this is a quick little mini arc where there's this kid who's a big fan of Dick Grayson who is kidnapped by his guardian uncle, and he asks the Titans for help along with Batman to find them. Oh, and the uncle is arrested for killing the boy's parents. And that's the Tom Taylor story. Moving on to issue 113, which is basically, I think this issue was issue 300, where you have a flashback of, so you have in the story, you have Dick Grayson, Damian Wayne, and Tim Drake. The 3 Robins basically beat a crowd with some thugs, and and also I want to point out about Tim's costume here. It looks eerily similar to his pre-1 year later costume. Similar, but not exact. Which I'm glad they got him back in the outfit, which I like that. And there's stuff here with being here. It's sort of a loose end. I think it's one of her last appearances to me in the book. Oh yeah, and also back we see his sister, and then we have a flat, and then we eventually go into more stuff in here. Then we see, believe it or not, Marv Wolfman himself make an appearance in Nightwing. Which, of course, this last issue here was co-written by... So the last 2 pages of this issue were co-written by Marv Wolfman. Which I thought that was so cool. This book is great. I gave this book roughly 9 out of 10. Nothing really wrong with this book. Just really good. And can you believe there's one more trailer to go for this book, and then we're done? Tom Taylor's run for Nightwing. Yep. Next up we have is Batman by Chip Zdarsky, Volume 4, Dark City. This book collects issues from Batman Volume 3, 145 to 149, the backup story for 150, along with 51, 52. 150, 152, these issues are basically gearing toward the very end of this run. Because, here's something interesting though about this. Because Chip Zdarsky's run, after this story wraps up, would only last for another 5 more issues before ending, and then right after next story, which is called, this one's called Dark Prison, next are called Dying City, where that storyline is basically kind of like, it's an all-in storyline, and that pretty much in a way led into Hush 2. Which, according to rumor, after that story wraps up, this volume will get restarted to number 1. And I'm like, why? Why would you restart something that's been going strong for, as of this year, for 9 years? This book has been selling really well. Excuse me. Also, currently, the only book in the past 20 years That I should point out, though, in the past 25 years, to have a 100 issue published and still go. Yes, I'm not kidding about that. DC's longest running title right now, that is not a renumber like Detective in Action. This book has publishing since 2016. 2016, that's how long this one's been lasting for. We have Tom King doing the first, I think it was like the first 85 issues. And then from 85 to I think it was 118, I think it was Jameson the Fourth. They had the brief run by Joshua Williamson. And now you have this book here, which was going on since issue, I think 126, I think it was. Yes, that's how long this book is going on. This run's been going on for. At this point, about a year at most. Basically almost 2 years. By the way, this deals with the aftermath of Gotham War. Now, I did not purchase the previous trade because my local library had it, and I was looking at my local comic store to get it because I ordered it, but it just couldn't come in. Distribution, a big problem with that. But then I saw this, of course, at a Barn Dump, obviously, because I actually requested my birthday, did not get it, but then as my birthday was over, I said to get it anyways. So, of course, you have Chip Zdarsky in the writing here with Teenie Howard and Kelly Thompson. Yes, the backup feature. Now, by the way, 151, 152, split book. You have Teenie Howard, of course, I mentioned it. Jorge Jimenez, Michelle Bini, Miguel Medina, Stephen Lerber, and Marina Izzelli, and Mattia de Ladas. The cover is Jorge Jimenez and Tom Armori. Now, those that be curious, though, have I met any of these people? Jorge Jimenez I was actually going to, but I couldn't find him at the last Comic-Con I went to. So, by the way, issue 150 is a one-shot tie-in for Absolute Power. So, we have a flashback to Batman waking up a cell with the Joker. Very briefly, and all about the one true Batman. By the way, this is a quick little story arc that lasts for about 5 issues, then we have 150. And that's the whole thing with Dark Presence. It's all dealing with Failsafe. And of course, he thinks he's Batman. This one, he technically he's a freaking robot. And Failsafe tricks Red Hood to think he's Bruce Wayne, but I feel like he's not. So, they have that in there. Of course, Batman's in prison where he wears bandages over his face. So people don't know he's actually Batman, which is a smart idea. Which that actually explains why he wears bandages, just to hide the fact he is Bruce Wayne. Also, Riddler gets involved here, with also the current mayor who gets killed off in the next story arc, which we'll talk a little more of that when that storyline comes out. Yeah, why is Riddler here? Well, he's here pretty much to the finale of this run. That's the whole reason why he's here. So then, of course, basically, Damian sees him. He's like, nope. He probably doesn't see the fact he is Batman. No. He's like, you really you? Prove it. Nope. And then we see Daniel Capatillo, who's... it's his old mentor. Never heard him prior to this run. Nope. And you have Zora and R stuff here. Stuff with the Joker. And then for some reason, we had the first issue end with Joker in his Death for the Family look, for some weird reason. Oh, by the way, for the longest time, I never knew how the heck Joker fixed his face. A lot of people never bring this up. Apparently, when he fell off that cliffside in Death of the Family, apparently this was kind of explained. I must have missed it when it came out with Endgame, where apparently the liquid under the Batcave was a metal, and that's what fixed his face. And I'm like, how? I must have missed the explanation. By the way, guess how I found out about basically how Joker got his face fixed? Because for the longest time, my friends, I had no idea of how the heck Joker got his face fixed. How to look so normal. So, apparently, I must have missed the dialogue when I read this. So, Apparently, Comic Pop brought this up on their review of Endgame. Yes, seriously. They brought this up. I must have missed it when I read it. Yes. So, Alfred going crazy. We have stuff with the Penguin. By the way, the opening story of that book, it basically it deals with the Penguin. Yeah. Yeah, Batman got his Bane by breaking Joker's back. And of course, basically, Dan Capitello is trying to get Batman back in shape for his rematch. And then, for some weird reason, we have Punchline randomly appearing in this book. Yes, Punchline is here. And of course, Batman takes out some robots. And of course, you have Harley Quinn here. Like, I'm practically a Justice Leaguer. Like, somehow. Yep. And then we have... Looks like Vandal Savage is going to fight Batman. Well, you have in the background here, we have Magpie and a few other villains. Let's see. I see Magpie, obviously. I'm not sure who everyone else is, but Magpie's the one I recognize. Then we have the stuff here with the robots, and then we have, I think it's Vandal, I'm not sure who this is. Yep. So, and then for some weird reason, we have this fan that when I look at this fan, looks a lot like the symbol Doctor Strange uses, but it's not Doctor Strange because Ditko never wrote any Batman, or drew any Batman per se. So, we have stuff with Amazo, and then we see randomly Superman appear in this book. Yes, which apparently this is basically mentioning what happened in World's Finest. Yeah, and then we lead into stuff with more. Then we have, the fact that we have Vandal Savage now been appointed as the commissioner of the GCPD. Renee Montoya doesn't like this much at all. So then we have this random guy just shoot him. Says, "You killed my friends." By the way, he became commissioner thanks to Gotham War. So he's saved by Failsafe, who thinks he's the Failsafe Batman. And then we have Waller here, because we have to deal with basically stuff related to absolute power. There's stuff with the Flash. Damien is manipulated by Failsafe in this whole thing. And then we unleash more Mesa robots here, because that leads up until... there's also involving them. And then we have Damien ditch the costume he was wearing and put on this costume here. Looks rushed. Yeah. So there's stuff here with Bruce and, well, then for some weird reason we have Batman put on this outfit here, which first time put on an outfit since the first story arc. Yep. And then we have flashback to seeing Riddler and Two-Face just arguing in a cell. We have stuff here going to this prison, leading to 148. Where apparently Damien is taken out by his own double. And of course he thinks he's in, but no, he's not. Then we have Batman. Well, he's still wearing this outfit. It's like, yeah, it's like, I'm Batman, aren't I? And of course, Vandal Savage is working with Waller. And then you have Red Hood's like, surprise Batbot. And of course, you have Batman fighting Failsafe. You have Damien fighting his double. Oh yeah, and also the fact that everybody's all cornering him, like the basically the Robins. For some reason, we have Tim wearing a different outfit for some reason here. Yes. Yep. And then we have Batman as Robins. Go and deal with basically his double. Oh, by the way, the stuff of the cover here features Bane. Bane is not in this run. Nope, he's not here. Then we have basically the other Robin. We have stuff here with, I think this is supposed to be Dick, maybe? And then we have Robin and Tim going to the Batmobile, one of them. Nice to see the Batmobile, because a lot of the time over the years, the Batmobile has not made many appearances. It's like some writers are reluctant to use this damn thing. And I'm glad Zdarsky is not reluctant to use it. And then we have Bruce just walking to his own company. It's like, Mr. Wayne, no one told me it's been months. Tell him, I guess I've been away. Thanks for Christmas you redone. Here's away from the club. Why is they get work done? Hold all calls. Visitors for and visitors a half day, okay? Of course. Time to clock in. Yep, and he basically is like, so basically you have finding about the monies, like total funds, like look like $3 billion. Then we have basically looks like that Bruce doesn't have his hand. Also, for some weird reason, Mr. Terrific is here. Yes, Mr. Terrific is in Batman. It's like a little flashback in the future. And then we have where Vandal Savage, where apparently like the bat signal was like blown up. He basically, yeah, Batman blows up his own bat signal for because he's like Savage. Like, I'm gonna take you down, Savage. You can keep the damn house. Also, Bruce has bought another mansion called Pennyworth Manor. So he has not moved back to Wayne Manor, not just yet. And we see it looks like Selina is here helping burying something. Leads to his new house. Nice looking house, by the way. Leaving to 150, which is basically, this is the backup story for this one, Picked by a Brick. And this is just the tie-in stuff where Batman gets involved with Absolute Power. It's only for this issue here and the opening stories for 151 and 152. Because this is all handled in the pages of Absolute Power. Also, this variant cover features by Gillian March Catwoman, where she's basically wearing the cowl. And these opening stories here is basically how Batman deals with what goes on in Absolute Power. This is basically what his book is dealing with here. Fighting, of course, Bizarro, and of course, working with Selina Kyle. Great two-parter. Yep. And we kind of wrap up that story there. And then we have the two backup stories, which I'm glad they included in here. Which is, first one's done by Teeny Howard, where it looked like a Harley Quinn story. They feature Harley Quinn, Mr. Freeze, for some reason wearing his Batman animated series look, and Poison Ivy. Yeah, it's a Harley Quinn story, and this story, I think this... Oh, it's Marina is the guy who... The colors look like the same colorist who does Francis Focovola's, his artwork. And it's with the Riddler, obviously, and for some reason, he still has that mark on his chest when the Joker shot him in the War of Jokes and Riddles. Yeah, he still has the freaking scar. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Like, I would have thought, though, they would have gotten rid of that damn thing, because that was one thing probably from War of Jokes and Riddles people didn't like very much. And like the whole story is about Harley, and then the next story involves, get this, Cassie Kane. This is of course dealing with, this is a Birds of Prey backup story, which I'm surprised they include in a Birds of Prey book, where it features Cassie Kane training with Zella from Wildcats. Yep. And literally, this is a Birds of Prey story told as a backup feature for Batman. Because that's all basically it is. It's a quick story, and they also leave it as power. This book is really good. I thoroughly enjoyed this. And is it going to be sad to see his run end? Yes, but excuse me. I've actually enjoyed this book per se, but I'll talk more about my thoughts on how this book will end when it comes to the last story arc, Dying City. I give this book a 9 out of 10. Yep. So yeah, this particular review, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up, basically, we have is I left my Area Convention party to join my former students to explore dungeon depths. Okay, next video. Bye.